So we're going to start on our backs. And just take a moment and just notice what you're feeling connected to the earth. Feel the back of your head, the back of your rib cage, and your pelvis. Shoulder blades are flat underneath the mat, and as you exhale, press your belly button down as if you could feel like your belly button is reaching the earth. And then as you inhale, reach your tailbone towards the earth, and just continue exhaling belly button down, inhaling tailbone down, and close your eyes and just breathe and move. And as you do this, notice how it feels in your pelvis and your lower back. So now find that connection, back of the head, back of the rib cage and pelvis. And if there was, here's my belly button. If I were to draw a line down, there's a tiny little space in the small of my back. I could feel myself balancing on the sacrum. I'm just going to lift my right leg up into tabletop. And I'm going to press it down and up, keeping everything still. Now I'm not going to count. Well, I'm going to try to count. And as I continue to do this, I'm going to lengthen out my leg and see how it feels. And the goal is to get the leg completely straight, keeping everything stable. And then bring that right leg back to the mat and start with the left leg just in tabletop in a 90 degrees and tap down and up. And begin to lengthen out that leg a little more. And straighten it out. And then bring that leg back in. And we're just going to open that right leg a little to the right, come center, left leg a little to the left and center, and continue side to side. Same thing, notice if when you open up that leg, if I were to over exaggerate and the other hip comes up, can you maintain keeping that other hip anchored into the mat? If this feels okay, bring your legs in tabletop and open them side to side here, keeping those knees directly over your hip bones, keeping your spine in a neutral spine. So one leg at a time, not both legs together. There you go, one leg at a time, different exercise. Excellent. And then come center and bring both legs so you're just hip width apart. So we're not glued together, they're a little bit apart. And now we're gonna go side to side, rocking on the pelvis. And just watching, so I'm gonna tilt to the left and notice how one knee is further behind. I wanna see if I can keep those knees stacked as I come side to side. Again, maintaining pelvic stabilization. You should start to feel those abdominal muscles kicking in. And then come center, wrap your hands around your shins. And we're going to simultaneously draw circles outward with our knees. Getting into the hip joint. And reverse the circles. And then from here, you're going to wrap your hands around your hamstrings. We're not going to come all the way up. I just want you to feel your arms are staying still. You're going to press your toes towards the wall in front of you so much that maybe you lift your head, neck, and shoulders off the mat. And then you roll back down. Then we're going to bring our feet to the mat and bring your hands to the sky and feel your shoulders separating and returning. So the shoulders separate and then they come back down. Are you not getting a picture? Come back down and bring one arm behind you at a time. You can't hear. Shoot. Minx and Eleanor, can you hear? Give me a thumbs up. Good.
Yes.
Okay, good. So I just want to make sure everything is working. Bring both arms behind you and both arms down, and we're going to come into a bridge. So we're going to press our lower backs down and lift our hips off the mat and slowly peel back down. So taking your time, lifting and lowering. So what I want you to watch out for, this is what I see constantly, is this big arch in the ribs. Can you think of bringing your hips up and ribs down? So if I were to draw a line from my shoulder to my knees, it's one long line, it's not broken up. And then slowly peel your spine down to the mat. And let's do that a couple more times. Exhale, press your lower back into the mat, lift your hips up, lift your spine up, one vertebra at a time, lifting up, and then slowly, slowly roll down, feeling a nice stretch in your body. And we're going to do that one more time. Press up, lift those hips up, lift all the way up, keeping your gaze towards the ceiling, and then slowly come all the way down. Then we're going to bring our hands behind our heads, interlace your fingers, elbows slightly lifted. On your next exhale, press your lower ribs into the mat to lift your head, neck, and shoulders up, and let your head rest into your hands. Then we're going to let our hands reach around our hamstrings and lift a little higher. See if you can keep that lift as you bring your hands back behind your head. And then slowly come back down. Exhale, press down to lift, hands behind the hamstrings, lift a little higher, hands back behind the head, roll back down. Exhale, as you exhale, lift, bring those hands behind the hamstrings, lift a little higher, hands back behind the head and stay. So maintaining this, lift your feet into tabletop. As you extend your right leg straight, aim your right shoulder to your right knee. Inhale, come center. Exhale and switch. Inhale, center. Exhale, switch. Inhale, center. Exhale, switch. Continue. Every inhale, your legs are together. Every exhale, you twist. Let's do one more each side. Inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. Rest all the way down. Hands back behind the hamstrings. Give yourself that little bit of a press and then come back down. So now we're going to keep our legs in tabletop and we're going to press our legs towards the left. So you're going to roll all the way to the left. Do your best to keep your shoulders stacked and just stay here for a moment. So even if that right shoulder came off the floor a little, just stay here. You should feel a deep stretch in the right side. Take a nice deep breath here and just see if you can feel yourself unraveling a little more. And I'm going to turn my head and look over my right shoulder. And you can stay here as long as it feels good to you. And then on your next exhale, bring that right arm all the way up and over and press it into the mat. And we're just going to be propped up onto that left arm. Your armpit is right over your elbow. And we're going to lift our feet up and open and close that top leg 8 times. Just 4 more. And then come back down. Bring those legs in a little bit closer. Extend the top leg. So if you have really good stabilization here, you can straighten out that bottom leg. You also want a lift here, and you want the line of your head, neck, and shoulders to be even. We're just gonna flex that top foot forward and point that top leg back and add your arm in opposition. And notice if you tend to sink into that supporting arm. If it's too much, just lay all the way down. The next time your leg goes back and your arm comes forward, stay there, get a nice deep stretch here. And then we're just gonna come back down to our side and interlace your fingers back behind your head. Elbows are stacked. So I see a lot of people like this or like this. I just want them parallel to the mat, and your head is resting on your bottom hand. You're stacked up nicely, knees stay together. Lift that right elbow up. So notice, is your shoulder up by your ear, or can you draw your shoulder blade down towards your hip? And then we're gonna start rolling from the rib cage. Aim your right shoulder blade. Think of rolling your shoulder blade to the mat as you roll back. And we're not gonna force anything. We're gonna really work from the shoulder blade. So if that elbow's off the floor, that's fine. I really don't want you aiming the elbow and jutting that shoulder forward. I want everything to stay in a nice line. And we're just getting a nice opening. We're getting more rotation in our rib cages. We're opening up our chests. Some of us are gonna feel our backs. And as you exhale, come back center and press your hand into the floor and roll to your belly. So start with your forearms on the mat and roll your shoulder blades down. See if you can maintain the alignment of your head, neck, and shoulders. And feel your hip bones anchored into the mat, and just really watch for the tendency to overarch in that lower back. So we really don't want to see a big divot in that lower back. If you need to, widen your feet so you're more supported. Legs could be closer together depending on what is best for you. Now we're gonna let our heads rest on the mat and bring your fingertips so they're right under your armpits. Roll your shoulder blades towards your pelvis. As you inhale, begin to lift your nose off the mat. Now from here, you can gently press your hands into the mat, but I just want you to think of reaching your chest towards the wall in front of you as you lift up. So we're working more towards our upper body, our thoracic extension, and then slowly come back down. Inhale and begin to lift, and feel the shoulder blades reaching towards your feet. Feel your chest reaching towards the wall in front of you. So we're really opening from the chest, and then come back down. And one more time, lift the nose, start to lift the chest, the head, neck, and shoulders. If you're feeling good here and you don't have any stenosis or anything that you shouldn't be taking too much of an arch, press into your hands. Continue to open up through the chest and lift up a little, and then exhale and press yourself back into child's pose. Your choice on what feels right to you here. So you're going to take a couple deep breaths here, reaching your hips towards your heels, hands in front of you. And then you're going to roll up and find your way to tabletop. We're going to take a couple cats and cows. So as you exhale, press your lower belly towards the ceiling. And as you inhale, reach your chest towards the floor. So really think about your spine moving and really let the spine dictate where the rest of your body goes. So when I'm doing my cow pose, reaching my chest down, I'm only lifting my head as much as my upper spine allows. Then from here, we're going to take our right arm, lift it to the sky, lace it underneath us, and lay on the outside of that right shoulder. Keep your hips as even as possible. If you feel like you want to do a bind, take that left arm around you, and then unravel and come back up and switch sides. We're gonna lift up that left arm and bring the left arm underneath you. Keep the hips even over your knees. You can stay here or take that right arm into it, bind. Again, keeping everything stacked nicely. And then come back down, come back to your hands and knees, and we're just gonna bring our right leg back. So my right leg is back and it's on the mat, and I'm gonna start to point my right leg to lift my right leg off the mat. My hip is right over my knee, and all I'm gonna do here is just lift a little and come back here, just a little. I'm not going so far up that I'm throwing myself off of alignment. I'm nice and light. My arms are holding this, not my wrists. And then I'm gonna just do a little bit of a rainbow. So I'm just tapping from one side to the other. You could do as many of these as you like. And then I'm gonna come back in and switch legs. So I'm extending out my left leg, really energizing through my arms. If it's too much, you can go down to your forearms like this. It's really up to you. And you're gonna lift that left leg, keeping those hips even. So I'm just doing this to demonstrate the option. And then from here, make your rain. Oh, first let's start with that lift. Good, that looks good, guys. And then take your arcs. Keeping everything stable. And then bring that leg in, and we're gonna lay onto our other side. So now you're gonna lay onto your right side, but first start by laying on your back. In fact, since you're sitting up, start to roll back from your lower back and roll all the way down to your spine, and just bring your feet back to the mat, and we'll take another bridge since we're here. Exhale, press the back into the mat to lift the hips off the floor. The back of my head is on the mat, so my gaze is straight up, and then slowly peel all the way down. And let's do that one more time. Press your lower back into the mat, lift your spine, keeping your gaze straight ahead, and the goal is to keep the ribs down and hips up. And then slowly come back down. And then lift your feet back into tabletop, arms to the side for support, and start rocking a little side to side. And when you feel ready, let your legs drop all the way to the right. And see if you can keep those knees stacked, and turn your head to look over your left shoulder. And you can stay here as long as you like. Just feel the shoulder open. You might even feel this in your neck. And then we're going to roll completely onto our right side and interlace your fingers behind your head and lift the left elbow up and start to roll back. And again, aiming the shoulder blade. And then unravel and prop yourself up to your forearm. Bottom leg could be straight as much as you like it. Top leg is straight. Everything is aligned here. You're supported here. You're laying on your side. And start flexing forward and pointing back. Let that top leg reach back, top arm forward, and then come back here. Lift your legs and open and close 8 times here. And then rest all the way down. And I'm trying to remember what's next. So from here, I think I've covered everything. If I forgot something, I'm sorry. We're gonna go up to sitting. We already did that, so we're gonna come all the way up. And we're just gonna come into our Baddha Konasana. So what our viewing audience doesn't know is I'm getting over COVID, so my brain cells are still not firing on all cylinders. I'm doing my best. And then we're gonna extend out just our right leg and keep that left leg here. If you happen to notice any strain in your knee, put something under that leg. It'll help give you some support. Reach your left arm up, shoulder blade down. We're gonna lift all the way up and over. And maybe open up that left arm a little bit behind you. And as you exhale, come back up and switch sides. And we're gonna lift the right arm up and lift up and over, feeling that stretch throughout your body. I feel it really deeply in the inner thigh on the right side. Most people will feel it mostly here. And then come back up. And we're just gonna slowly roll our shoulders all the way down and back. Your legs could be wherever they feel comfortable to you. And we're gonna reach our right ear to the sky and just stay here for a moment and hopefully feel a stretch in the right side of your neck. And then look down towards your left armpit and roll your chin center. Lift your head up, reach your left ear to the sky. Roll your chin towards your right armpit. Roll your chin center and lift your head up. I'm gonna do one more thing and then we'll be done for today. So I'm gonna have our arms in a 90-degree position, just like this. And you're gonna take your right elbow underneath your left. See if you could get the back of your hands to touch. If that's okay for you and you wanna go deeper, bring your palms together. Then from here, lift your elbows a little bit and bring your hands a little bit away from your face. Hopefully you feel a nice stretch in the top of your shoulders. Give yourself a tiny little hug and come back to this position. Now from here, bring your left elbow under your right and see where you can go. You may be here the whole time. It's really what's good for you. Lift your elbows, maybe get the palms to touch. And press your hands away. Give yourself a hug. Thumbs to your hearts. Take a gentle bow, and I wish you all love, peace, joy, and wonderful good health always. Namaste. And I'm going to turn off the recording. Thank you. Hold on.